welcome to this update video. I hope you're doing really great this morning. So we're going to be taking a look at what is happening across the North Atlantic. We've got our disturbance in West 94L. Now it is struggling at this time. As I had mentioned in previous videos, the environment is not going to be immediately conducive, but as it is going to be approaching the Caribbean, it could actually intensify, maybe becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm, and we'll be looking at the latest details for this system. As we take a look in the Caribbean, though, at a closer view, we can see that it is quite active. We've got that huge blob just offshore Nicaragua and in the vicinity of the islands of San Andres and Providencia. So likely a pretty wet and active morning for the islands. And even towards Jamaica, we can see some thunderstorms around, and also within the vicinity of the Bahamas. And those white dots you're seeing indicate lightning strikes. So we can kind of tell where those thunderstorms are occurring right now. Even near the ABC Islands, we are seeing some action this morning near Curacao and Bonaire. And there are also two tropical waves in the region which are helping out with increasing the moisture. So here we're taking a look at this graphic, and those orange lines show the axes of the tropical waves. And we've got that one associated with 94L. Well, it is 94L. And then another one which recently entered the Caribbean. And we've got that third one towards Central America, helping out to enhance the rain. Now, as we're going to be heading throughout today, this is a look at the rainfall forecast from Euro, and here we can see it. So we've got all these colorful shadings, these oranges, these reds, even some spots with burgundies as well. So towards Central America, parts of the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, the Keys, the Bay Islands of Honduras, Guatemala, parts of northern Honduras as well, even going down to Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and the islands of San Andres and Providencia. There's likely to be some pretty substantial rain throughout today, and some of these areas have already experienced some heavy downpours. So especially where is low lying, the flood prone areas, if there's already been a lot of rain, if the soil is so saturated and then there's additional heavy rain, then that is going to create the risk of flooding. So if you should encounter any flood waters throughout today, guys, regardless of where you are, please exercise caution as best as you can. Towards parts of northern South America, Colombia, and even a couple spots in Venezuela, there could be some downpours as well. ABC Islands, as I showed you guys, there is some activity in the area, so there may be a couple passing showers. Hopefully that's going to be the case. And then as for the Guyanas, we're not seeing much color around, so it's likely to be pretty dry for the most part. Lesser Antilles, couple passing showers possible. Same thing, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and parts of Hispaniola. Headed to Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, some spots in Cuba, the Bahamas, and even near the Turks and Caicos Islands, there could be some periods of heavy rain, especially this afternoon, and with a lot of heavy rain in a very short amount of time, that can also result in some level of flooding. Hopefully nothing crazy goes on today. Now we're moving on to the details regarding the disturbance. We're going to be looking at the latest model data. So as I showed you guys on the satellite imagery, much is not going on with it right now. It's in a pretty dry and unfavorable environment, so it's not looking impressive whatsoever. And as we look at this graphic here, we can see why. Now this is showing the dry air, which is marked by those shades of oranges, yellows, and reds. Now, the more vibrant the shading is as we head more towards the oranges, reds, and even that pinkish shade, that is showing a much higher concentration of dry air. So the disturbance is just within this massive dry air. So that is keeping things unfavorable for it to try to develop. So we're going to see struggling for the next couple of days as it drifts generally towards the west. However, as it approaches the Caribbean, maybe just north of the Leeward Islands or towards the Leeward Islands, it could try to strengthen, potentially becoming a tropical depression or even a tropical storm at that time. So there's a lot of time to keep an eye on the system, and there's a lot it can do as well. There are many possibilities on the table just because it is so far out. So there's no telling that, hey, this area will be affected. There was going to be such and such impacts. It's going to be a hurricane at the time or tropical storm. That's definitely something that I cannot say at this point in time because there's just so much possible with the system, even though we have seen some model trends of the general trajectory of the system, but nothing is solid regardless. And as we head into the vicinity of the Caribbean, again, we've got that tropical wave, and models have been hinting at an airflow pressure forming and trying to get itself together. For the past couple of days, GFS has been quite adamant at development in the West Caribbean. We'll see how that goes, and eventually we may have the National Hurricane Center highlights in the area. So we'll see what happens in the updates throughout today. But as it relates to the disturbance itself, it's highlighted in orange, indicating a medium formation chance, 40%. And this is a look at the model track guidance. So we previously had the tracks a bit further to the south. We had the majority of them taking the system into the Caribbean. Now we're seeing a little bit of a northern shift. So for the most part, they are showing that, hey, this could move just north of the Caribbean. And one of the trends I have also noticed is a little dip after that point. So if the high pressure area reinforces itself, that's going to steer the system mostly to the west, and that is what models have been showing as well. There have been quite a few hints of that little dip to the south into the Caribbean. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. And then as it relates to the intensity guidance, as I said, for now it is not going to be strengthening much, but eventually as we head into later this week, let's say around 3 to 5 days out from now, the system could intensify. So we can see the models going up into this green shade. And let's go to 72 hours. So that's 3 days out from now. Most models agree that the system could be a tropical storm at that point. And then further on, we see that a couple of them are taking it as up to hurricane status, which is not going to be impossible once the environment remains favorable enough. And then this is a look at the sea surface temperatures. So it is very warm out there across the Caribbean. And for parts of the Gulf, especially the northern Gulf coast, we're seeing some of those green shadings starting to pop up. So things are starting to cool off as we approach the inevitable latter part of the hurricane season. So waters are still very warm and very much supportive of development. So if this thing is going to be entering the northeastern Caribbean, look at those temperatures. We see 31 degrees Celsius, maybe even slightly higher in a couple spots, or even just north of the Caribbean, mostly 30 degrees. So these are some very, very warm waters, not only warm at the surface, but also beneath the surface. There's a lot of heat content to fuel these systems to actually intensify. And once the environment is conducive with other conditions, such as the upper level winds and a whole lot of moisture, and also limited land interaction, then of course we could certainly have something pretty significant to talk about. But time will tell. And of course, I'm here to keep you guys posted as per usual. So that's essentially what I wanted to share with you in this updates video. Just wanted to give you that update on the disturbance and also for the Caribbean region. So I hope you found this video to be informative. But if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll respond to you when I have the chance to do so. And remember to always be weatherwise.